We are not blaming the referees for this loss. Do you understand that? Can I put that on the table any clearer? The referees are not responsible for the 49ers losing this game. However, they are responsible for 2 game-altering plays that had either gone the 49ers' way, they probably win the game. The Gibson unnecessary roughness hit is as ridiculous a pussified, scared officiating league can show you how bad that they've become at officiating this grown man's game. There was nothing about that hit that was dirty. There was nothing about that hit that could have been changed based on the physics of the earth and gravity. There is nothing about that hit that was helmet to helmet. There was nothing that was, here's the thing, describe.
There's one word to describe it. Textbook.
Clean. Yeah, it was clean. It was clean.
So it's a textbook hit. And it's a textbook hit. I mean, it's...
Larry, here's the thing. If he had wanted to put the lumber on him, Gibson 100% pulled up in that moment. He didn't go through the player. He didn't go through the body and just dismantle someone. He pulled up a little and still didn't even get the benefit of the doubt. And then the other officiating moment that absolutely altered the game, because it probably prevented a scoop and score by Nick Bosa, was the PJ Walker, was his hand coming forward. I thought it was a fumble pass. I thought it was a quick whistle by a crew that didn't even march off yardage correctly at one point in this game, didn't even call penalty. It was a shit day for that crew yesterday. They were bad. And the Browns had reason in a win to be unimpressed by that officiating. And the 49ers have, more reason in a loss to be upset. Here it is. Excellent, Larry. I'm glad you dialed it up. Look at you producing like Fred Godelli. Here we go.
Yeah, let me just make sure we get the volume down on this. We don't need the volume. We'll just go with the video. Here's the route. Here's the hit by Gibson. It's perfect.
Watch this. Again, what do you want him to do? The player was in midair. Is Gibson supposed to wait for both of his feet to come back down to the ground before he plays football? I don't get it. I don't get where is the infraction? Where is it? There's no helmet to helmet. That's shoulder pad to shoulder. I don't see it. I don't get it.
Well, it's because the NFL on this play is officiating contact, and it's not reviewable. I mean, who came up with the idea that you're going to have review in a sport and then take the bang, bang, fastest, hardest to officiate play and say it's not reviewable?
Not reviewable.
You can review everything.
Look,
you can't review. We're in a world where we have review. So any play that's unreviewable is means that you're dangling. That means that, some part-time school teacher who's out there in Cleveland on a rainy day has to get this right in real time. And if he doesn't get it right in real time, everybody's just going to look really, really bad. Why can't this be reviewable? And this is textbook. If he goes low on his knees and the guy, flips over and lands on his head, that's a penalty. If he goes helmet to helmet, that's a penalty. We're asking these guys to be, Olympic gymnasts. They're football players, for crying out loud, on wet fields. And that was as textbook as it gets. This is a textbook hit. Little slant, you hit the inside shoulder, you rocked him, he went down. And here comes the flag. It's like, I don't understand why throw the flag there if it's not reviewable? You could always take a look at it afterwards and say, oh, that was too violent. But once you make this call, you can't undo this call. So this is one of the worst calls we've seen all year.
In a violent game that is not even a violent hit. But Christian McCaffrey gets hit twice as hard as that every single time he touches the ball. Somebody on the chat says, well, you have the concept of defenseless receiver going on here. This is a defenseless receiver. Then the NFL needs to outlaw jumping. No receiver can have both feet off the ground at any time. I mean, seriously. Defenseless. The only reason why he's defenseless is because he leapt into the air. There, he shouldn't have jumped. How dare you jump and create a defenseless situation? I mean, it's just that's such a ticky-tack foul.
Well, once again, that's favoring the offense too much. Okay, I understand why they want to favor the offense over the defense, but you have to allow the defense to play the game. So you're saying that he should have stayed back, let the ball either fall, be completed or be incompleted, and then he could tackle the guy. I mean, that's a different sport than the one we grew up with, and that right there is textbook hit. Textbook.
It was
hits
bad.
him right on the shoulder pads, and this is on 3rd and 10, and this would have been 4th and 10. Instead, it's an automatic first down and a 15-yard penalty tacked on.
All right, I don't want to see it anymore. That's enough. That to me is a ridiculous decision by an officiating crew, which showed you that they were just in no state-of-the-art decision-making mode at any point in time. They couldn't even call face mask in the right direction or march off yardage in the right direction a couple of different times in this game as well. So
how about the Mooney Ward hold?
Yeah.
I mean, that was not a hold. I mean, there was no hold there at all. He didn't clutch his jersey. He didn't grab him. That was a phantom call, both on the same drive. So those two penalties really hurt. And then, another one, if we're just going to let quarterbacks, as they're going to the ground, flick the ball with their wrist, in nothing about that throw is a throw.
Right.
Then it should be the advantage to the defense. Whatever gives the defense more of an advantage should be the call. So if it's more of an advantage to have it be an incompletion and a penalty, a grounding penalty, the defense should get that. If the play continues and it's a turnover and that's the bigger advantage for the defense, then that should be the rule. But just allowing quarterbacks to, he was basically in the grasp. He flipped around, didn't know the defender was there. Oliver hits him, and he just kind of pushes it off the side of his hand 1.5 feet. It's a clear fumble. To have that be an incomplete pass, and we're sitting there going, well, did his fingers go forward? You got to be kidding. There's nothing about that that's a pass. Nothing.
Well, and you just had, again, an officiating crew instantly say, no doubt about it, clear as day, nothing to even discuss.
Well, it was challenged. It was challenged.
No, I know, but here's the thing. You got to let the play happen. You officiate it as a fumble. You officiate it as the scoop and score. And then you at least have the opportunity to go back and take a look at it. I mean, here's the thing. It's the old. They
did take a look at it, and they confirmed.
Right, but
it's a bad rule, Damon. What I'm saying is, the defense. It's a absolute bogus favor to the offense. Where if basically every sack that anybody commits going forward, if you see the guy coming, you can just flick it off the side of your wrist. Anything going forward at all, and that negates the sack and whatever's coming from it, usually a fumble. So
no, I misspoke there a little defense. Bit. The problem with that is it was so close in the eyes of review. Had that been ruled fumble, scoop, score, touchdown, they wouldn't have been able to overturn that, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. So had the official not determined that with my own eyes I can officiate this moment so perfectly that it's got to be a fumble, the Niners would have had 7 more points.
There's a solution here. Have you ever been to the racetrack?
Sure.
Okay. When there's a photo finish, they don't say the one horse won unless overwhelming video, evidence says otherwise. They simply flash inquiry. It goes to the stewards, and they make the right call. Inquiry. That's all they got to do in these situations that are so damn fast that they don't know what happened. Inquiry, and it goes to the booth. That's it. You don't have to predispose one outcome over another. You don't have to have overwhelming video evidence that negates the bad call on the field. Because let's remember, the call that's made on the field will be favored because you need overwhelming video evidence to overturn the call on the field. Why should an incorrect view or an incorrect call be advantaged over the correct call?
Right.
Just throw up the inquiry like they do at the track. Go to the stewards, in this case, go to the video judge above. We don't know what that was. Inquiry. Now here it is. Then neither outcome is favored, and then you're more apt to get a fair result.
Right. Don't leave yourself with the wiggle room to default back to the wrong decision in the first place.
Right. And you know where it really comes into play? On fumbles in games that aren't the Super Bowl, when there's limited camera angles and the ball's in the scrum, and we think it was a fumble, but we can't, it was ruled non-fumble on the field, and we can't get quite the angle that quite shows it. That's where you just go inquiry, booth review, make the best call based on the video evidence that you have, not tied to the call on the field. Who cares? Who really cares about the call on the field by a part-time official? And then here's the other thing. It's the NFL's always caught in these days between their mom and pop roots and what they are today, which is the fastest growing industry in America that's worth $20 billion. It's no longer quaint to say, hey, a guy was stocking shelves at Kroger's on Wednesday, and on Sunday he played in the NFL. No, they don't do that anymore. They got a 16-man practice squad. Okay, and this whole idea of, Bob taught school on Friday and had a social studies test, and on Sunday he's officiating the Super Bowl.
Right.
That sounds like, isn't that quaint? No, it's not good. It's like, there's enough money on the line. There's enough gambling money on the line. There's enough jobs and careers and everything. There's enough importance in these games. You can't just be like, well, it's just a game. No, it's not just a game. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right, and careers are on the line, and get it freaking right. And part-time officials is a thing of the past and should be wiped away for full-time officials, because how do you become better at your job? It's when you stop doing it part-time and start doing it full-time.
The NFL is literally a pillar that the entire country stands and leans on. From entertainment to business to free time to family bonding to having an opportunity to hang out with your kid on a weekend. Like, it is, football is, and this is probably not something that we should be proud of, but football is like one of the 10 most important subjects in the United States. Okay, so get it right. Get it right. Yeah, you're right. No more mom and pop. This guy he's a truant officer, and he gets kids to high school, and then here he is making sure everybody's getting to the line of scrimmage on time. It's amazing how life balances itself out. No, it's not. It's not. Pay every single official. How about this? If every official on a field was making six figures, mid six figures, you would get better people doing it. The higher paying the position, the better the applicant for the job becomes.
Yeah.
So there you go. Get that done.